From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
Welcome to You Should Know. I'm your host, Evelyn Ledbetter, and I have the pleasure today of having Deanna Cordova. She is the Director of Multicultural Affairs here at Eastern New Mexico University. Deanna, it's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure and honor when you asked me. I was really super elated and more being around you.
Oh, well, we've, certain people you just have a connection with, and I've always felt that with you ever since I came back to campus and started working. So
appreciate it. It's mutual.
Well, thank you. And actually, I borrow quite a bit of, I get some of my guests for the show from your program. So thank you.
Okay, anytime.
and a lot
Share the wealth.
I know. make good out of this. Yeah. Tell me about you. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Madrid, Spain. And, I went to school there. I went to a Catholic all-girl uniform boarding school.
Oh my! At what age?
Since we didn't have kindergarten at that time, so I started in first grade all the way to 12th grade.
Wow!
So I always wore the same.
And so is that standard in Spain? Is to
I think
literally
in my era, let's put it that way, it was more standard.
Was that scary as could be as a
No,
as a
my
6-year-old?
parents both went to boarding schools too.
So
both of my parents went to boarding schools, so I thought it was just
that
a
was
continuation.
That's just what happened. You didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I didn't even think there was another option.
Right.
I mean, there were definitely public schools and all that,
Sure.
and no boarding, but yeah. So boarding school was from Monday through Saturday, and then on Saturday they brought us home.
Oh, so you had a little bit of time with the family.
Yes,
It wasn't
yes.
far off in 7 days.
No. And so I was always home Monday, Saturday. We went to school all the way to 2:00, and then they brought us home. And then Sunday, obviously, being in a Catholic school.
You were back in church. And
Yes,
and
went to
back
church,
again.
and then on Monday they took us back to school.
And siblings?
No.
No?
My parents had me in a later age.
And you were so amazing, they just thought there's no need to try this
think,
again.
Yeah, well, I was trying, and I had amazing parents. I had very, very loving, and I always say super fun. They were they taught me so much about the world. Besides, because I think they felt that I was in school academics all day long when you're in boarding school.
That's true.
And so when I came home, it was just a completely different environment.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And what did they do? What were their
So
careers?
my mom, before she met my dad, she was a model.
Wow.
In Europe. So she
I
actually
can see that
was.
from you.
Oh, thank you. She appreciate it. She was actually a model in Europe, and then my dad was an engineer.
Very nice.
Yeah, and then once my parents got married, then she stayed home with me all the time. She never worked, so I was very lucky to have a stay-home mom.
And did you learn English from the very beginning?
I did not.
So
it's common in Europe that you will learn a second language from the beginning. So because I was in Spain, it was French. But my parents, because they were always, more innovative, let's put it, they're like, no, you're going to learn German. So I learned German.
So you're fluent in French, German?
No French at all.
No,
French.
that didn't work out.
Yeah, I didn't. No. I just, because my parents chose that I had to learn German instead of French.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody was learning French. Everybody
Gotcha.
was speaking French.
Gotcha.
So I do I'm fluent in German and in English. And so I started learning English when I went to college.
And where was college at?
It was in the University of Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the degree? What did you do?
I have a degree in German philology and
Oh.
linguistics.
It's a little tough to market that for a position, isn't it?
I think here when I transferred to the States, it was more like modern languages. I did start with classical languages because I do love Latin and Greek. And it just, my dad was like, it is not going to market that well anymore, so you're probably not going to be a nun. And for sure, you know what I mean? So it will not, I'm like, yeah. So then I went to modern languages.
Okay.
And that's when I started learning English.
Bet you wish you had learned from the very beginning.
I
maybe
don't know.
not.
I'm very happy that
you picked it up.
I may not have learned German if I would have started with English.
That's true.
Probably. So yeah. So I'm trilingual.
And your path to the United States?
The path to the United States is kind of interesting. In the University of Madrid, they had an exchange student where Americans will come, and it kind of started like a bet, because we love when the Americans came. We love when the Americans came, and they were just so outgoing and fun, and they brought a lifestyle that we did not have.
Oh.
Yeah, very. It was just, they were so outgoing, and life was not as complicated maybe as our lives thought, you know. And so we always wanted to meet with them. And so I met some Americans, and some of my friends were like, we're all going to the United States to study. And some made it and some did not make it. And I did make it, you know. And then what brought me to New Mexico, because I fell in love. Love is what brought me to New Mexico.
Thank you to that guy.
Yes, I fell in love with a fabulous man who I'm still married, and we have 2 children. And yeah, that's what brought me to New Mexico.
Okay.
Love.
Love. And to Portales or to another?
No, to Clovis.
To Clovis.
To Clovis. Yeah,
But
yeah. My husband is from Clovis, and all his family is from
so
Clovis.
military. Is that how you met him?
No. So
just by luck.
Just very good luck. He was just nothing that I had envisioned that I was going to marry.
It's kind of funny how that works out sometimes.
Yeah, it was just, you know, because I think when you grow up, kind of you think, I'm going to marry this and that, you know, this person, or they have to have these qualities. It was nothing that was in the book. And I am so happy.
Well, good.
So happy. And that's what brought me to New Mexico, love.
And then you took the position as...
Well, no,
Did you start out as the director?
No, I started teaching Spanish. Dr. Mary Ayala was the one, Dean Ayala is the one who hired me, teaching Spanish. That's how I started here at Eastern.
Okay.
And I'm going to say my anniversary is in November, 25 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I am so, I
How
can
did that
hardly
happen?
believe it.
How did that even happen, huh?
Yeah, how did that happen? 25 years. And our daughter graduated also from Eastern already, so now we have a legacy.
And you're rocking the Eastern
I
green.
love Eastern, and I love green. It's the color of hope, and you never lose hope.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
And so how many years did you teach Spanish before you transitioned?
I taught Spanish for 2 years, and then the opportunity came. At that time, we had a vice president. Actually, I started with Dr. Frost, and they were already talking about creating a multicultural program. There was really non-existent, and so the vice president approached me and said, "This is what's going to happen. We know," and so I applied and I got it.
And you got it.
Yeah,
And there was nothing.
Nada, nothing. So
this whole plan, this whole program has been your innovation, your life's work for the past 20 plus years.
Correct. And I have loved every minute of it, because it's always a different day.
That's true.
Yeah, it's always a different day, and you know, you have different plans and thoughts, and when you see them accomplishing them and progressing, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but you learn from them, and then you try something different.
It gives you the opportunity to do better next
Definitely.
time.
Definitely, Evelyn, definitely. I just can't believe 25 years have passed.
So when you started the program, did you have a goal? What was your first goal? Like, this is what I want this program to accomplish right now? Or?
Yeah. So the goal was definite. My goal was definitely to create a multicultural center. I have traveled, luckily, extensively around the world, and meeting people from different cultures and heritage and languages, and gave me kind of a vision that I didn't think it was here. And so I always had to do a proposal, and I had ideas. Definitely they wanted the offices, the departments that had to be included were African American Affairs, Hispanic Affairs, International Affairs, and Native American
So those
Affairs.
were they like clubs or groups?
They
Or-
were more like clubs, organizations, yes, but they wanted to make it more as an official area.
I'm going to guess. I was in the accounting club. I bet yours is much more fun than mine was. I should have snuck in the door where you
You know,
were.
and I started with zero budget. So,
Oh, seriously? Zero
yeah,
budget?
Zero budget.
And so
Zero
where
budget.
did- where-
It was just my salary. That was it.
That's it.
And I had to progressively grow and prove that this was worth money.
That's
funding.
true, to justify.
I was Dr. Caldwell, Patrice Caldwell, they had a little pocket of money where they would bring some kind of event that was multicultural. So she gave me that little pocket of money, and then we just started growing, and I believe they saw that this was worth it. And every time I ask money, I have to say, it comes.
It's provided somehow.
It's provided somehow, yeah. So, and I have to thank all the students because this department is student run. So we don't have, right now as of March, there's another professional. But for 24
4
years,
it was just you.
it was just me.
And a lot of the events are after hours and weekends.
Correct.
So
and I
you
had
never.
babies and yeah, it was. But if you have the passion and the dedication,
And then I'm going to guess there's a ton of ownership. This is your program.
yeah. Well,
I mean, others have helped, but truly,
definitely,
this has been your vision.
this has been my vision. So we started at the Student Academic Services. That's where it started. I had a little office there, and then there were like little offices, and we started hiring students. And luckily, then where the bowling alley used to be,
Right? That's what that was in the bottom of the
Yes,
cub
yes.
of the Campus Union building.
Yes.
Click.
And yes, that was the bowling alley. Thanks to grants from the TRIO programs, we were able to create, at that time, it was just a multicultural area. So it was shared with tutoring, the TRIO program, and multicultural area. It was just an area.
Well, you know, the first time when I came to your office the other day was the first time I had been there,
Oh.
and you've just got such an inviting,
Oh, thank
amazing
you.
area that for kiddos, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, coming in as first gen, it was a little overwhelming from a very small little school. I can't imagine coming in from another country.
Yes.
So,
Or from any tribal land that they haven't been in a reservation. We definitely want to make it welcoming to everybody.
sure.
Welcoming to everybody. And I believe that everybody always puts their own little thought or granule to make it even more welcoming.
And so you said that your students are the ones that do so much of this. Like when you
Correct.
have right now, it's Hispanic Month, right?
Yeah, correct.
And so your students come up with the speakers and everyone?
Yes. So they come up with a theme because I do believe that it's very important to create a theme. So I teach all of them, if you come up with a theme, then everything else develops. And so from there, we have four students who work in that office. And from there, they develop the ideas and the thoughts. They honestly do it all.
Wow. Is there funding to bring in the guest?
There is. I
Some.
do have a budget, and there is a line item for each of the departments.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said, so Hispanic Heritage Month, and then you flow into what?
Native American Heritage Month. We're also doing the entire semester International Education Series. So this year, the international department decided to do Asian countries. So we started with the Philippines, and then we're going to do Japan, Taiwan, and Korea.
Oh, so I might get some really
Yes,
interesting
yes,
people on You Should Know.
yes. So, and that's all, we all sit down, we all develop that, give them the ideas, and then they have to run with it. And very, very fortunate, and I'm going to say thank you to Dr. Johnston's, that he really saw the need that it was so big anymore, I just couldn't. It was becoming very overwhelming. And I have a phenomenal coordinator. I'm going to say her name, Catalina Arana. And we're just such a great team and work so well together.
So how cool. So when your students come in, that inclusion, because they're included and they're starting to put the programs together, and they start meeting other people from other areas, and they've got the commonality.
Correct. That's how we work
of not
on
being from here.
Correct.
So
I do think that now we are a center, so now we have the entire area.
Right.
So tutoring moved to the GSSE, and the TRIO program moved to CUE with the others. So now all that area is a multicultural, a very welcoming and vibrant multicultural center. And all those students, I think you say the noun that I love, commonality.
Right.
And so when you come through those doors, I always tell them is you need to think, what do we have in common? And then respect and be joyful of our differences and sharing them.
And celebrate those.
It's completely. And that's how it works.
Because wouldn't it be boring if if all we had was 5 colors of paint to choose from?
Correct.
Everybody has a different something to bring something to the table, I think.
We always say that everybody smiles the same way. And crayons, they come with all different colors.
You know, something that I enjoy, it's always a little awkward for me to ask people about their heritage and things. You don't want to offend, but there's so much to learn, and I love embracing those things. So,
and those events develop because the students are proud of who they are.
Sure.
And they want to share it with others. So that's how all these programs, because they're proud of who they are, and everybody should be proud of who they are. You know, everybody. No matter how much you know of your heritage, no matter how little you know, or what are you becoming.
Well, and I know it's a very important thing. When you get a freshman in, that's a scary time. And if you don't tie them in, they're not going to probably come back or make it through the semester.
Definitely.
So you give them that family.
Yes, definitely. I believe that everybody gives them that family. When they come and they discover the Multicultural Center, they feel very, very welcome. Very welcome.
And like you said, if we celebrate, if we respect the differences and just learn from them and not try to change them.
Definitely.
So that's always the great thing when I come to a lot of your different events that are like a 2 o'clock, 1 hour. And just learn and listen.
That's the key. You just say the key. Listen.
Listen. It's not about me on this.
Listen.
But they're just as curious. You know, my family farms, and we have a lot of people from the air base that come in, and they're very curious about the different crops, and they want to learn about our culture as well.
Yeah. I learned about the culture here about green chili.
I
didn't know about green chili. I learned a lot about the culture here. And that green chili, and if I ever leave, I'm not sure how I'm going to survive with Ledbetter green chili.
You can come and visit me, and we'll hook you up. So what were the challenges of getting this created, of getting the environment and getting the buy-in from the students?
I think sometimes the challenges are for people to understand that this is necessary. Because, you know, you see all these events and you see the joy, and they're like, oh, it's just for fun. It's not fun. It takes a lot of work to create a program, and more when you don't have staff per se, like you and I, who are professionals. So I spend a lot of time to make these students professionals. The constant training, the constant, I'm very lucky that most of them stay for the college career.
For the duration.
But if not, they leave. You have to keep training. And training takes, as you probably know, a lot of time and more, you know, because we train them from the beginning of how to create an event, from how to send an email, how to contact the speaker, how to host a speaker, how to write a description, they do it all. And so that does take a lot of training.
To get them up to speed. So you hate to lose them.
Oh,
well, just like
I'm very happy that they're graduating, because I do believe it's a very retentive program.
Well, the same as ours. We get students in, hopefully all 4 years, keep them all 4. And by the end, the upperclassmen are teaching the freshmen that are just coming in.
The issue, I think the challenge is to keep all those offices staffed with the students who have the passion and dedication. That's, sometimes, and I always tell them, I say, if you get too involved, this job is going to be hard because you are your own boss here. And so sometimes they start getting too involved, and then something is going to maybe don't work as well.
Right.
And we're lucky that we have Native Americans, but those Native Americans have to have a certificate of Indian blood. And so you always have a little bit of those challenges.
Are there scholarships and things available for students that are international that are different than others that are specifically for that?
For them to work?
Or just to come to school here? Is there a scholarship to help cover?
International? Because remember, the international program is just one part.
Right.
Then there's the Hispanic, African American, and Native. But that center is for everybody. It's just those offices when the civil rights movement started were the ethnic backgrounds that were more,
I think from having
underrepresented.
International students here, the thing I've come to appreciate, I didn't give any thought into, my thought of trying to get into college was the financial piece of it, but it wasn't that I couldn't be accepted or try to get into the country or to learn a different culture or a different language.
Yeah.
So my learning curve was much different.
Yeah. So for the international students, because I was one, definitely is, you have to go through the embassy, you have to get all the paperwork, you have to have a financial statement, you have to have your health insurance. So, and then the embassy has to give you the last approval, yes,
to get in.
And then they give us what is called an I-20, and usually it's for 4 to 5, depending on what kind of visa you have. I've been on a lot of visas, so.
So really, it just wound up that with your travel, trying to be a multicultural educator or director would be very difficult if you had not traveled or known multiple cultures.
I believe so.
Because for me, I just know this little world.
Yeah.
I've traveled a little, but not in depth to really understand it.
Yeah. My parents retired on the west coast of Africa, so I had all that.
Oh.
We dealt with a lot of, so I believe I had the right requirements.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time, but tell me of a success story that's really touched your heart, of a student that you just saw flourish or do amazing through this program.
I'm going to tell you there's a lot of success stories because I always love to hear you when you say the first generation, which I was not a first generation, so that was a new concept for me. Seeing those students that come from parents that they had never been in college, they're learning all this process. But I have a story of a student, and you may have known him. He did his master's here in communications. Jacob Lee, he's an artist.
Oh, yes. I didn't meet him here, but at Dr. Johnston's inauguration.
Okay, yes. So he and I, when he came here, definitely he taught me what patience and resilience and perseverance is. And I just saw so many capabilities on this student. He just needed a little bit of direction. And now he just finished his master's in communications, where he didn't even think he was going to graduate from, even with his undergraduate. And I learned a lot from him, that you never give up on any student if they're willing to continue. They will have their bumps, and so I follow that now with all my students.
We've had students here that they come in and they may be here a semester, so it's not quite right, but giving them another chance to grow up a little bit and come back in.
I was given a lot of chances in the United States. I love the United States for the opportunities. I don't think there is, and I'm going to speak from my own country. I don't think there is that many opportunities like you have here, even in this little town of Portales.
It's a hidden jewel.
It is a magnificent place. My daughter, our daughter who graduated from here, from Eastern, she lives in Washington State right now, and she says thanks to ENMU and this little community, she has spread.
That's pretty amazing.
So it is, and she talks, she was in a sorority and she became the president, and she will not have, I don't think she will have done it in a bigger university.
Right. It worked well for me.
She loves Eastern. I mean, she bleeds green.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Well, it has been such a pleasure to get to finally do this interview, and thank you for all you do for our students and for coworkers and colleagues as well. I always learn from you.
Thank you for inviting me and thinking that I could share some information. I love it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's always so much to learn, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And for all of you watching today, thank you, and we will see you next time. Cheers.